end of the 50 minutes, if you have any questions, we have a little bit of time for questions. And then, of course, after the presentations, you're more than welcome to come to any of who you would like to ask more questions to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hopefully I won't go over the 15 minutes. I am Shauna Robbins, and I'm so glad that you are all here today. It's nice to see familiar faces, old friends, new faces. It's great. I am a two-time best-selling author. I'm a board-certified health and wellness coach, and I'm also a sleep expert. And so this is my company, Third Spark, and if you could pass it on. Today, I am here to talk to all of you about the power of your sleep. And sleep for me was never really an issue until I turned 47, but that's another story. I got into this wellness journey about 15 years ago. At the time, I was working public relations, and I had the great pleasure of, see, it's not your fault, my mother, working alongside my father. And I get emotional when I talk about him, and I apologize for that. My father was an amazing serial entrepreneur. He would start companies, and he would sell them. And one time, he called me into his office, and he said, Sean, I'm trying to type this email, but I don't know how to write words anymore. I don't know how to spell. My brain is not working correctly. Could you please come in and take a look? I said, sure, Dad, of course. So I popped into his office, and sure enough, I helped him write his email, and he looked really especially exhausted that day. And I said, Dad, what's going on? Why are you so tired? And he said, Sean, I've been tired for a long time. And I said, well, what's happening? You know, how much do you sleep at night? And he said, on a good night, maybe 3-4 hours. Some nights only 2 hours. And I said, well, why, Dad? And he said, well, I fall asleep really well, no problems. Head hits the pillow, I'm out. But I can't stay asleep. And I'll wake up at 2, or I'll wake up at 3, or sometimes I even wake up at 1. And I don't want to just lay here. So I get up, and I turn on my phone, and I check my emails, and I watch TV. And I'm just, I'm just exhausted. And so, red flag, right? Daughter, employee, first red flag. So I helped him do his emails, and as time went on, his language became more and more impaired. And so when he was 59, he had his first mild cognitive impairment test. And by the time he was 62, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And he is the reason that I stand here today in front of all of you and share the power of sleep. Because we have no family history at all of Alzheimer's disease or dementia, no family history of early onset. This is a lifestyle disease, and it's a lifestyle disease that can be cured by making different lifestyle changes, and that's what we're going to cover today. Thank you. So let's talk about why sleep is so powerful. So first off, sleep restores your brain. So while you're sleeping, your brain is very active, and most people think that their body is resting. True, but the brain is not. So the brain is restoring your neurons, it's regenerating your soft tissues, it's storing all of your learning that you've had during the day and creating neural pathways and inferences together. But the most important thing the brain does, most people don't realize this, is that it cleans itself. And it needs 7 to 9 uninterrupted hours every single night to clean itself. And I liken it to one of those self-cleaning oven, switches that you used to be able to do and turn on the button and walk away. That's what your brain does. So the brain is biologically wired to anticipate that there will be viruses and pathogens and things that come into the body through your eyes and your nose and your mouth during the day. And so it relies on having 7 to 9 uninterrupted hours at night to flush and clean itself. And when that doesn't happen, like what happened with my father, you have neuroinflammation that begins to build. And it will build for 10, 20, 30 years before you actually see signs of cognitive impairment. So it's really, really important that you use sleep as a really important time to repair and restore your brain. Second of all are the adrenal glands. So those of us living in first world countries have adrenal glands that are completely depleted. I work with women from actually all around the world, and I always see women that have, and men as well, that have adrenal glands that are in complete burnout. And so when you rest at night, your adrenal glands can actually restore and repair themselves. And your adrenal glands, not only do they, create the fight or flight response that we all had to go through to get up and get dressed and get here today, right? It's just part of our regular living. But your adrenal glands also manage your metabolism, manage many other functions in the body. So without proper sleep, your adrenal glands will suffer. Your heart is also something that gets repaired while you sleep. And when you rest, your blood pressure naturally drops, and that allows the body to go in and repair the arteries and repair the valves. And it's a very, very important time for your heart because, you know, during the day when we're busy, maybe we don't eat so well, maybe our stress level is too high, things that impact your heart, sleep is the time where you can really repair it. Rebuilding your immune system is also something else that most people don't realize. Your immune fighter cells are only made in your gut while you sleep. And so if you want to be vibrant and healthy, you need to be able to sleep 7 to 9 uninterrupted hours for your immune system to work correctly. And then the last is actually one of my favorites, improving problem skills. So when you rest, your ego rests. And so if you have something that's bothering you, a problem, a solution that you're looking for, maybe a creative outlet that you need to be thinking of or a mindset shift that you need to make, if you can just hold that in your heart or write it in your gratitude journal or in your mind before you go to bed, your subconscious will actually solve the problem for you. But you have to allow it to have 7 straight hours of sleep to do that. So there's plenty of times where I, you know, myself or my clients have been drinking coffee the next morning or in the shower or commuting to work, and it's like, oh, that's who I call. Oh, that's what I do. Oh, that's right. The problem will fix itself, and the solution will come without any force or angst if you just let the brain do what it needs to do while it sleeps. So sleep is the true source of your power. Thank you. But we all know that we don't get enough sleep, right? And the statistics share that. 1 in 4 women globally deals with insomnia. And there's definitely more women that deal with sleep issues than men. A lot of that comes from, again, the burned out adrenal glands as well as hormone shifts that we go through as we age. Sleep can be one of the first things that disappears. 70 million Americans per day say that they're sleep deprived, and that's sleeping under 6 hours a night. And I actually think that that statistic is low. I think it's about a third of the United States that spends their lives in sleep deprivation. And sleeping under 5 hours a night gives you a 40% increase in getting 2 or more chronic diseases. Chronic diseases being cancer, heart disease, neurodegenerative diseases, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. So let's talk about the cycle of sleep deprivation and what it does to your body. So I always say that we actually have a sleep epidemic. We don't have a chronic disease epidemic. So as a culture, because we are sleep deprived, this is what happens. When you have under 7 hours a night of rest, it creates this negative feedback loop where all of a sudden now your body is having cravings for carbs and caffeine and sugar because your brain is looking for a quick hit of glucose. And so you start to have these, you need an afternoon coffee, or you need some chocolate, or you need some chips, or whatever it is that you need, right? Because your body is desperate for this glucose. Well, that sets you up to have blood sugar irregularities, which puts you into a situation where you're gaining weight, and the worst part of weight that you can gain is the visceral belly fat. And that's what does the most damage to the organs. And then high inflammation levels come from that, and then the chronic diseases come. So you can see why I think that sleep is the cornerstone of all things health and wellness in your body. Thanks. So good news, there's something you can do, right? The body is this amazing biocomputer that can heal itself all by itself. And when you heal your sleep, you can absolutely heal your body. And the way you do that is through lifestyle choices. So when my father was diagnosed at the age of 62, the first thing he did was really lean into all the research on what types of lifestyle choices he needed to make. And so that really inspired me to go back to school and become a functional nutritionist and a sleep expert. So not only I could help him, but I could help other people as well. And these are the 3 lifestyle choices that I feel are most important for everyone to make and be very mindful of. First of all is your diet, second is your mindset, and third is your stress reduction. And we're going to talk a little bit about each of those next. So if you want to sleep well at night, the secret sauce lies in your daytime choices. All of these are daytime choices. So you'll see that. It's not about what you do when you actually get into your bed and your head hits the pillow. It's about how you set yourself up during the day to sleep well at night. So first of all, I always tell everyone I work with that you want to eat like your life depends upon it, because it does. The most important thing you can do is put good, healthy nutrition in your body every single day, because if you don't have the right nutrients, you cannot make the right hormones that you need to sleep well at night. So making sure that you're eating real whole foods, foods that come from the earth, right? Not the Starbucks muffin or the egg bites or the prepackaged Trader Joe's salads. I'm talking real whole foods that you're preparing yourself. Very, very important for your sleep at night. You also want to manage your daytime stress. So again, like for example, I had a client last week who had a very challenging situation at work, and she went to sleep great, but then she was up at 1 and she was up at 2:30 and she was up at 4 and couldn't turn the brain off. And so I know many of you have dealt with this before. And so while she was awake, she was using her box breathing, which is her methodology for stress reduction. And it did help. It did help her fall back asleep, but not enough and not uninterrupted. And so I was proud of her for using that, but I also wanted to encourage her and share with all of you that your methodology that you use for stress reduction needs to be used earlier in the day, needs to be used during the daytime hours. It's most important. That's the best way to preserve your sleep at night, is to bring down those cortisol levels during the day, which leads to daily exercise, right? Daily exercise is a great stress reliever for a lot of people. And daily exercise, I feel at this point, daily exercise is non-negotiable. And it's no longer about how you look or what size you wear or any of that. Daily exercise is to oxygenate your brain, to oxygenate your blood, to move your body, to get, everything that you store inside of you out in a way that then feels relaxing and supportive to you. So I always have people ask me, what's the best kind of exercise for sleep? And I always say the same thing. It's literally anything that you do that you love, that you can do 5 to 6 days a week, do that. Because it's the commitment to it that makes the biggest amount of change in your sleep. Connecting with friends is also a very, very important part of sleeping well at night. I don't know, maybe many of you have heard the statistic that loneliness is worse for your health than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. But this is a big, big one here. And the reason being is because when you connect with friends and loved ones, your body naturally makes oxytocin, which is a bonding hormone. And the beautiful part of the body, like I said, it's this biocomputer. When you're making oxytocin, you're not going to make cortisol, right? So it's this beautiful stress reliever to be able to connect with people you care about. And last but not least, to cultivate a sleep mindset. And what this means is that every night's not going to be perfect, and you know that. And what you do is you're able to accept progress over perfection. It's not about sleeping great, 8 hours a night, 7 days a week. You're going to have tough times here and there, and that's fine. Just when you fall off the horse, get back on, take a look at maybe some things that might have contributed to a rough night. It's okay, just learn and keep growing and keep moving from this, and really keep your mindset a growth mindset around sleeping at night. And that is it. So I apologize for the emotions. It's always hard to talk about my dad, especially in a group of people here who knew him and loved him. But this is my email if you'd like to get in touch with me. I don't know if we have time for questions, or did I go too long? Okay, great.
No, I do.
Okay, yes.
When people are taking medication to be able to sleep, how is there a way that they could wean off and keep their bodies again to get into?
Pharmaceuticals, or what type of medication are you referring to? Benzodiazepines and Ambien? CBD. So that would be different. I would consider a plant-based medicine different than a pharmaceutical, because if a doctor's put you on a pharmaceutical, you have a totally different path. I love CBN for sleep. In fact, my mother is a testament to the power of CBN as a cannabinoid that helps with sleep. I just think that looking at what the things are in your lifestyle that are contributing, maybe if there's some low-hanging fruit here of things that I've listed that you can make changes on, and then just cut your dose back and play with kind of improving your mindfulness and your daytime choices and decreasing what you're using at night. Even melatonin. So many people misuse melatonin, which, mind you, is not FDA approved, and there is no quality control for melatonin, and they're giving it to their children, and it's just, it's a hormone. So if you're changing your hormone system, you're changing your entire system. So Yeah, I think that looking at your daytime choices will really be helpful then. Yeah.
I have a question.
Of course.
I saw Connect with Friends. What we see in the knowledge as well, that if you cuddle a dog, or cuddle animals.
That's right.
And that's very easy because to cuddle a stranger.
That's true.
We're like, I need to do it for my health.
That's true.
Like
Give me a hug.
Dog, everybody, that's okay. So I would say,
yes.
For your
it's
for
a great
health,
ad.
Cuddle a lot of dogs.
Yes. Thank you. That's a wonderful ad because, again, it's an oxytocin burst, right? And it makes you feel loved and bonded, and that'll lower your cortisol levels. Yes?
Can you address, obviously, drinking alcohol at night?
Yeah, I'm so glad.
First experience, I get horrible sleep when I drink one too many.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. I didn't do a slide of don'ts, but that would have been number one on the top of my don'ts. So alcohol is a nervous system depressant, right? So it'll calm you, make you feel like you're sleepy, but it's got so much sugar in it that what happens is that it causes a blood sugar spike, usually middle of the night, around 3 a.m. A lot of women I work with are like, I don't know why I wake up. Well, how many glasses of wine did you have? 3. They're related. And so the best thing that you can do is if you want to have a little alcohol with dinner, wonderful, but after that, nothing at all. And even some teas, in fact, can be really aggravating for people. Besides, you have to get up and use the restroom, too, in the middle of the night. And alcohol is very dehydrating, so it will cause that, too. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Yes?
I've convinced myself that tequila's okay.
Yeah. Whatever you need to do.
If you drink tequila and hug a dog.
Hey, see, here's the recipe for wellness. There you go, right there. Yes.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi.
That was a lovely talk.
Thank you.
I want to be your friend. And I just want to say, I don't think you ever have to apologize for feeling emotion around your father.
He was a beautiful man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Al, you always have such a wonderful gift of bringing in your room into your room. Thank you. Shauna, thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi.
Marlon, thank you again for your talk. I just wanted to ask, what is your experience with magnesium?
I love it.
Could you say more about that?
I love magnesium. And reason being is because 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium because it's no longer in our topsoil anymore, so it's not in our food supply. Our grandparents had it, our great-grandparents had it, but we don't have it. So when you're deficient in magnesium, it makes it very challenging for all different aspects of your system to work. So yes, I highly recommend a magnesium supplement. It's really challenging to get nowadays. And there's so many out on the market, and they all do different things. So certainly if you want to talk specifically about that after this, I'd be happy to.
Just one quick question. You often hear that the amount of sleep that you need kind of changes throughout your lifetime. Is that a misconception, or do younger people, need less sleep? Do older people need less sleep? Can you talk about that a little bit?
So there are different levels of sleep that you need depending on the growth of the brain. So like children need a lot more sleep. Teenagers need a ton more sleep because the brain is growing and changing so much. So that's why, your teenager seems dead to the world at noon, right? It's like their brain is just making as many neurons as it can. Obviously, as you age, that becomes less and less, right? Your brain is still growing, but not to the rate it is when you're younger. Again, the recommended hours of 7 to 9 uninterrupted are for all adults. So anything under 7 hours is going to set you up for that negative feedback loop. 7 hours is the minimum of what you should be aiming for. Anything under that, and you're really setting your body up to have some issues. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I have to say,
Thank you. There's some of my books there, too.
I read her book, and it has been life-changing. And
Thank you.
because the awareness of how important sleep is and how I can now deal with my daily stressors that you brought up, that we will continue speaking on later.
Right.
It has been changing my awareness of what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
So,
but also what you do right.
Yeah.
There's so much of what we do right. So yeah, I'll be in the back there. If any of you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out.
yeah.
Thank you.
And talk about life